Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Eiersholt on our new farm here. I know I said I was going to record another episode on the same day, but as you can see, it started raining and it pretty much hasn't stopped since. So it's going to be a bit of a wet, miserable day. I started getting a few machinery stuck. So what we're going to do here in the rainy morning is we're going to head up and deal with the cows. And as you can see, I'm down to, but there's 1.6 million left of our budget from transferring over the farm and sale of machinery and everything like that. So I'm going to show you a bit about what's been happening. We've got a tanker truck here to begin with. I've been shifting some of the digestate from that we had at the BGA down here and putting it into one of our spare slurry pits. So that'll make it a little bit easier to refill once we get going on the field down towards the end there. I want to put slurry on that one. I still haven't finished the manure over on the other field, but I have started spreading lime on it. So we have our class tractor sitting right here. I think we better head up and get the cows sorted out first and foremost today, so that they don't start getting to... I did put a couple of bales in, so I'm producing a bit of manure instead of slurry right now. That was more experimental. And then I put in this building, little simple shed, but it'll come in quite handy for storing the machinery that we use for the cows up here. But better first of all get some water going for them here, and then we can check. Okay, we got 10,000 liters of milk. That's pretty decent. And then yeah, we definitely need to get cleared up in here. So a new shed here has a little bit of new machinery in it, not a lot, but I bought this Roland DAB14 again. I really like this one for running down the aisle. It's not too big, so it's quite easy to handle from that perspective. But we better get in to the T5 here. We already got the shovel on the front, so we can get the path cleared down in the cow stable, and then we can get topped up for food. I'm still getting used to trying to find the feed area in this stable here, so I just managed to spill most of the whole crop silage that we picked up, because I'm just gonna dump that back into the feed trough if I can sort of find it. I don't know how far in I need to go, maybe quite far. That looks better. There we go. And this time it didn't spill onto the floor. So now we can pit up some TMR and get the cows completely filled back up again, or at least a little bit higher than what they are. That's a full load of 14,000 liters. That should do us quite well as we get into the area here. Now we can start feeding the cattle, taking it nice and slow down the aisle here. So there's one category that doesn't get filled by the TMR. That's corn and sugar beet now with the new version here of Eiersholt. So we got plenty of corn over in the silos, and I've already added some, but it looks like I have filled all the categories. Let's just have a quick check. Yeah, so as you can see, almost no straw left, but that's okay. We can let it run into slurry instead. Water's full, and the 3 top categories are full, so we need a little bit more corn. I don't have any sugar beet stored right now, but I do plan to plant some. We'll hop back into the pickup truck here, and we'll just go down around this side of the farm so we can have a little look at some of the machinery. I did get a little bit of fuel into the tank, but I haven't filled up the DEF yet. So let's just park here for now. So you saw this in the last episode already. That's our New Holland T9 sitting with the subsoiler ready to move back out to a field. And then if we hop in here, I bought a seeder. I wanted to try something a bit different, so I went with this Horse Evo CS instead. So you can see we got narrow twin tires on it, and it doesn't at first glance look particularly huge, but it's still a 12-meter reach. And right now to pull it, simply because on the old farm we had only just bought the ELPHNT 1050. So I thought I would bring that one back in, since I really quite like the machine, and we haven't had much chance to use it. So this one has already been over seeding one field. I think that's pretty evident from the muckiness of it, but we'll be trying to get it out again if this weather calms down a little bit. So that's obviously a couple of major acquisitions sitting there. Then we got the Garant trailer for moving the slurry, and in here I also got the Merlot turbo farmer here as a telehandler. I know we have both a wheel loader and a front loader tractor, but still, because in here I put up here we have some sugar beet seed. Sugar beet can wait till a little bit late. They can go in late spring. Everything else actually needs to go in by mid-spring at the latest. And then I've got some more grass and an alfalfa seeds, because one of the things we need to do today is to get the field split up a bit. But there is some more new machinery. I filled a couple of these firewood pallets. We've got a little bit more to do on that today as well. This one is full, just sitting waiting for a moment. But in here, in our big shed, I've been making some big investments, as you can see. So I went with the Lexion this time for the combine. On the old farm we had 2 combines, and I might go back to 2 combines if we can afford it. Once we got all the other machinery that we still need, then if there's money left over, I'll get another one that's perhaps slightly smaller than this one. But also, quite crucially, we need a forage harvester. In the last one we kind of did the opposite. We had a New Holland combine and a class forage harvester. This time I've gone with the New Holland forager instead, the FR 790 here. The direct cutting header on this one is a meter wider than it is on the class, so I thought it would be worth it to help us process those fields a bit quicker, especially since we are going to be cutting both grass and alfalfa, putting some to hay and through the dryer and some to silage in the pits. So right now I've just got the grain header for selection. I probably will be planting corn as well, but we'll get that sorted when we get to it. So that kind of covers the major new acquisitions. I did get another truck that could help us, because our main truck right now was running with the digestate from the BGA. So I got the IT hook lift truck back in as well, so that could run some manure for us. I also got a slurry spreader and another class action. So previously we had 2 T7s. This time we're going to have 2 actions as our sort of main beasts, and I have I've got the tow bar here because I've already needed it. I used the T5 to pull this little loader trailer over here with seed out to the field where I was planting barley, and it got stuck, so I had to get the tow bar and the action out there. But we got the Samson PG2 with a dribble bar. So it's actually one size down from what we had before, but with the same size of dribble bar. Because we now have the Garant loading wagon and the manure mod, we should be able to do a couple of decent fills on this one instead. I think that will work out quite well. Anyway, that's enough of just walking around the farm. Better get started with some work even in this pouring rain. I'm very hesitant about sending too much machinery out into the field right now. It's just gonna get stuck basically. So I do hope this clears. So what I'm gonna do first here is I've got one of the trees that we cleared. I got it all chopped up here. So we'll get that loaded in to the back. We'll bring it over. We'll load up some of those firewood pallets, and then we'll bring one down to the sell point and see if we can actually start making a little bit of money on this version of the farm as well. Obviously we're still in the sort of buying in phase in many ways, but still we gotta start turning it into something that can generate a bit of whoops, jumped inside there for a moment. It's got to generate a bit of profit at some point. So I'm gonna load in some of this stuff, bring it over to the place where we have all the firewood stored, and then I'll show you how we get on with that. Nope. Last couple of pieces of the first load here. So I haven't made a terribly neat pile here, but we're now going to switch into the hand tool here, the axe. As I start chopping firewood, we should start filling up the pallets over there. Now, because there's a bunch of pallets, it might pick one slightly at random here to fill up, but that's okay. We want them all filled at some point anyway. Obviously I don't have to arrange the logs particularly neatly for them to turn into firewood here, which is quite handy in some ways, but nonetheless we are getting some wood that we'll be able to sell down ourselves. And the pallets that you use for the firewood mod here, you can actually carry them by hand when you buy them, so that's quite handy in a way, because it just allows us to bring them down by hand. So sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly. Just okay, I found the purchase point on it there we go, especially when you just got one little piece left there. But here we go. We got a decent amount there. I'm just going to pull this one forward a little bit and switch it off, and then we're going to get our front loader, because with the Merlot that I purchased here, I put a decent amount of front weight or back weight on it. I think that's about 1500 kilos on those blocks there. As you can see, we do also have a trailer hitch, so I feel fairly confident that we should be able to lift one of these. One of the issues I found with the ELPHNT T5 compared to the old Mathis that I had before as a front loader tractor is that that one seems very light. It's probably also the REA mod, to be honest. Let's see, I need to narrow this a bit. That might have been a bit too narrow there. See if I can get in underneath here and lift this up. That does seem to be working. I hope it'll stay on as we head up the road here. So as you can see, the pallet takes 3000 liters of firewood, and by turning it into firewood we can move it in. There are two different sell points with the mod. I've gone for the shed, in part because I needed something to recognize the road I'm turning. There's already some in there from earlier, but there we go. We filled that up and then earned us 12,000. I think that's significantly better than if we were just to sell those chunks of woods up at the sawmill. So I think it's worth it if you have like small clearing jobs where you have to cut down a tree like we've been doing here while building the farm, obviously moving into one of the main forestry areas, I wouldn't try and turn everything into firewood. That would be a crazy amount of work, and the wood actually goes down quite slowly at the sell point. So I kind of like that. It's a little bit like people stop by and buy the firewood from you there. So that kind of works out. But it gave us a little opportunity to try out our telehandler here. The only other thing I'd really used it for was to lift the seed pallets in and put them in place here. But I do need to get the seeder switched over as well to either, I think, grass or alfalfa, and we need to start splitting up some of the fields. So that might be something we can do while we're in daylight, but while it's raining here as well. So I'm moving in across one of our biggest fields, field 37 here. We have another field up to the side of this road here, and what I want to do is I kind of want to cut off that section in between the two forest lands there, and I probably want to put that either as grass or alfalfa. And then the southern part of this field I also want to cut off. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to change into the paint mode. I don't think we're going to use animal mud. I think we're going to use regular dirt to begin with to try and define a road across the field. Now size wise, I probably need to go up one size perhaps, and then zoom out a bit. It's not necessarily going to be spot on perfect. I'll take it nice and slow. This is going to cost us a fair bit of money as well, but I'm basically just going to try and make it over towards the corner of our existing grass field here. That'll allow us to move up in this direction as well if we ever need to get up to the northern side of the map. So now that we're over here, I think I want to try and see if I can move the road in to the forestry area, because we own that as well. So rather than wasting the grass field, although now I'm getting into a bit of a pickle here because there are trees in the way, but that's okay. We'll take a little corner of the grass field here, because what I want to do is I want to continue this road. I turn a bit so we can see what we're doing. I want to continue it down along the edge here, but I actually also want to bring it back out across this other field here and kind of cut that one in two. So I'm kind of subdividing some of the fields here because they are absolutely massive. And this one I'm going to bring all the way out to the main road so that we have some shortcuts. I think if okay, so that bush is probably going to stay in place, but it's not a collision one, so I might just have to live with the fact that it's going to be a bush in the way there. But that's okay, it's not the end of the world. So that's the main part of our little road here, and then I want to lead it back to the farm as well, to the northern side of the farm here, but I would like to avoid sort of using up all the grass here, so I'm gonna try and keep it quite close over to the edge, maybe something like this, but I do need to kind of soften that corner a bit, and then we come in up here and maybe just take away a bit of that corner there, like that. That's not too bad. That was fairly easy. And we got one more to do for subdividing the big field over here. So I gotta head down sort of on the other side. And once we're there, I'll show you what we're doing. So here we are, this is the road that comes out. You can see the farm over there on the top left corner. So this road here comes out to the field, and again, this time I'm not going to meet up with the road. I'm just going to cut more or less, let's see, yeah, fairly straight across here, something like this. And then everything on the southern side of this is going to probably be used for alfalfa. The other part is that at some point I would like to buy the next field over here, so this will provide some easier access into that field. So that's pretty good, because now we have two large areas that we can focus on getting the grass and the alfalfa in, and then basically mid-spring we've got a blitz getting some different types of grain in. I don't know if I want to split this one once more. I don't think so. I think this will do the trick. So now we're obviously back here on the farm, but we need to get our seeder out and get the little bit of barley seed that was left in it emptied out, and then we can get some alfalfa seed, I think, brought into it. This one also carries fertilizer at the same time, so I think that's quite handy for our, whoops, up in behind there. That's quite handy for our precision farming, trying to catch up on getting fields fertilized, because that's quite a job in itself. So it's a little bit tight here for these big machines that I've purchased myself, but that's my own fault. I put down the buildings, and if it turns out to be completely unworkable, then obviously we can move them around a little bit, but I think we should manage, as long as I get the wheels out and don't smash through that window there. It's a little bit tight here, to be honest. Maybe not the best. Maybe I should go the other way. That might be better. So as you can see, it wasn't a whole lot that was left in there, unfortunately. As usual, it dumps out the fertilizer as well. I might need to get in there and get the fertilizer filled up while we're here. But first we'll just get that fertilizer back in, and we'll get the seed pallet moved into the shed. So that's our barley seed there. There's only 480 liters left, so I didn't do too badly on trying to estimate how much I needed on that front. And now that we got our new shed with workshop and space up top, I can basically just stick this one up on the top shelf. It can sit next to the sugar beet seed there, and we can get it back down again when we need it. Excellent. The alfalfa seed is on the right there, so we can get the first one of those picked up and start loading up our seeder. I do like this little Merlot. It's quite maneuverable compared to many other machines. So there we go, it's starting to fill in all by itself. It's nice. With the new precision farming, one of the things we can do is we can actually go in and look at the statistics of each of the fields, see how much money we've already spent on them. We've been spending a lot of money on each of these fields already. So while this is emptying, we can actually take a look at that. So now we're inside the precision farming mode here, and obviously I've just been putting some roads in and stuff, but they don't really show on here. But if I press field 41 here, our large one, you can see that we have spent 16,650 on soil samples, and we spent 12,730 on lime. Then we burnt some fuel, vehicle maintenance, and AI helpers, etc. So in total, that field, in addition to having purchased it, we've spent 32,000 on it. It's quite cool that you can see all these statistics. Field 40, on the other hand, is not too bad. If we go to 43, this is where I seeded barley on the whole field yesterday. So here you can see that we got some fertilizer, and we've got seed costs and fuel and helpers and everything like that. So that field, including seeds, soil samples, and lime, not lime, I haven't put lime on there yet, gosh, I need to remember that, has cost us 41,000. So it's some pretty big numbers. But yeah, 43, we need to get some lime on, but apart from that, that one is more or less good for a while. Everything else still needs worked out, and we haven't even touched field 38 at all. Now the thing is, although we're filling the seeder, I need to get the plow out in front and actually turn over the soil down here. So now that that's sorted out with seed, I think we better get a little bit of space cleared so we can get some fertilizer into that seeder as well. And then we're going to get into the T9, get that one started first, get a little headway, because this seeder here is a bit wider and will catch up to our subsoiler, so it needs a fair bit of a head start. There's a little bit of bumpy ground here in the middle. Maybe I need to try and get that smoothed out a little bit, but hey, it's a farm, not a parking lot, so it's not the end of the world either. In the most extreme case, we could put triple tires on it, but let's see if we can manage with the duals. It is a fairly sizable machine, so it should work out. And now I jump into the cab here, we head out to the end here. We should now see our new road, of course, as well, and see what it looks like across the field there. Because I want to, first of all, get this bit on my left hand side here plowed up now. So let's start unfolding our subsoiler. I think what I might do here, so I still need to get like new field edges sorted out for courseplay. This corner is actually looking a bit too sharp, to be honest. That's going to cause all sorts of problems. So I'll just round that off for a second. There we go. That's a little bit better. So right now I'm just going to use a regular worker, and that means I'm going to do the first 2 or 3 rounds of headland on here, and then we'll see what we can get into. But I suspect that also gives us a chance of figuring out how bad the slip and the water is on this field. Hopefully we won't get stuck, but if this one can make it through, I reckon the 1050 and the cedar will be able to as well. So sit back, relax and enjoy as our T9 gets into some hard work here. There we go. That's a good pile of headland done. Now I'm just gonna set a regular old-fashioned worker. I'm gonna start him right here on the corner, but we'll see if it'll work, even if we start so roughly aligned with the direction of the strips here, and hire a worker. Yeah, my concern is sinking here as make it into the plowed part of the field, but we'll see how the worker gets on. It might be a complete mess, but we got other jobs we need to be getting on with as well, so we're going to leave that just for a bit and see how it goes. I'll send our tanker truck up to pick up another load of the digestate from the BGA, so that we'll be able to start putting down some slurry on one of these fields as well. So I've just temporarily, I'm gonna leave the lime there. I just need to move to 1050 so we can get out, because we got one purchase still sitting up at the shop, our new grain and silage carts. I bought two of them, and they are going to be doubling up. We can modify them in our workshop, and they will basically do both jobs and change their capacities quite drastically. There we go. Now we can get out. So we're going to take a little run up to the dealership and have a look at these new trailers. So the two actions aren't actually identical right now. This one is the 940 and the other one is a 930, so it has a slightly lower horsepower, but we could get it tuned up to the same horsepower range at some point if we find that we need it. That was more just a cost thing. It seemed to be coping quite well. It's still got over 300 horsepower. This one has 400 and something. So yeah, we can get a little bit more oomph out of it. But I'm on my way up to the shop, and I'll see you there in a bit. So that's the shop coming up here, and if we peek in, we should be able to see our two trailers sitting here. They don't necessarily look like a whole lot right now, because this is their base configuration, but both grain sides and silage sides can be added to this to increase the capacity. These are the Roland trailers, but I changed the color to a sort of nicer dark blue ones. So let me know what you think. They'll be pretty good even for transporting sugar beets or something. And actually there's a sugar beet side for it as well when we get to that bit. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like these. I think they look good, and the fact that they are so configurable, that's going to be a big advantage, because then I don't need to buy separate loading wagons for silage jobs. We are simply going to change the sides on these trailers, and then we'll see how we get on. But for now, I really just need to bring them back down to the farm. Then I need to actually start working out where we're going to be putting different pieces of equipment. There's still a few things missing. We don't have a baler yet. I reckon that's going to go into the big shed together with the combine and the forage harvester. Probably need some kind of bale trailer or autoloader for square bales. I'll just be doing square bales for straw. In terms of the grass and the alfalfa, that's either going to go loose straight to a silage pit, or it's going to go into our grass dryer to make alfalfa hay or grass hay, basically. So we're reasonably well covered, and we don't need to start thinking about having to wrap bales and stuff like that. That would take forever with the size of fields we got around here. But I'll see you down at the farm when we come down with this trailer. We can now fill up. We have 30,000, almost 31,000 liters of fertilizer sitting in there. We get 3,180 out in one go. So the only thing I'm unsure about is whether this will load straight into the seeder or whether I need to put it into bags first and then lift the bags up to do it. We'll find out. Thankfully I put some extra weight on the back there. Ah, excellent. Straight in. So that actually seems to work quite well. Then it's not that big a problem that we put that little little silo for the fertilizer sort of tucked into the corner there. This is an okay way of doing it when we can shift 3,000 liters at a time. I'm quite happy with that. Don't think we'll need another 3,000 here, but we'll add a little bit more. Oh, it runs out fast though. We'll see how much we can fit in. And then our 1050 will be ready to start putting down some alfalfa. But that is this mighty beast ready now. And close up the lids there, and we'll have to see how the T9 is getting on out there. Whether we think we can start laying in the first round of headland. I don't want to end up confusing the worker. So it might be simpler for me to simply wait until we're near enough finished with the ploughing of that field. At least now that the rain has stopped. The soil's drying out a little bit. Oh, he's actually making pretty good progress here. That's looking good. So I think he's still going to be working over there on the other hand. I think what we'll do is we'll park up here and let this guy have his morning coffee before he gets started. What we can do as the last thing for this episode, was kind of rattling on a bit with a lot of different jobs here today, is we'll try and get a bit of our digestate transferred to a slurry spreader, and we'll start putting some of that down onto the top field where we're going to be putting grass on later on. So that way we'll put the slurry on before it's ploughed. That is, if I can actually you think you leave enough space for everything, and then it actually turns out you've done everything a little bit tight after all. But there is actually plenty of space here. I just need to get used to maneuvering in my own yard here, preferably without taking out our grass dryer or anything like that. Now I need to see, where's the coupling for this machine? I think it's over here on our right hand side, so I'll try and reverse up quite close to that tank there. That's the one we've been transferring the digestate into. So let's see, I think, yeah, it should hook on there, but we just kind of hop up and have a quick look here. As you can see, we've got quite a bit of digestate in there. In fact, if I walk up here and press F1, you can see it has a thickness of 2%. So what we can do is we can enable the mixer. It won't take very long to break this down, but obviously if it's been sitting for longer, then it would take a while, and if we don't do that, then it will slow things down. Now the big question is whether our extension hose here is gonna reach over to the slurry spread. It looks like it will. Yes, good stuff. And I need to open the manure flow on this side, and we need to do the same over here. And then we can start pumping some slurry into the Samson. But here we are. We are ready to start putting a bit of slurry down. So I should bring up this screen so that we can see. Oh, what am I doing here? It would help if I also lower the dribble bar. So, as we can see, that's now on automatic application rate here, and it's jumping back and forth quite a bit right now. But that's okay. It's going to take quite a lot even to cover just this one field. I hope we'll have enough by the time the truck's going to bring back 30,000 litres, and I think we got close to another 60,000 litres up at the BGA. So we can keep this thing going throughout the day pretty much. Still putting manure down over on the other field, but I'm quite happy to leave that to dry out a bit since our wheel loader was struggling. I'm already starting to contemplate whether it was the right decision to get that smaller wheel loader. It feels like it's maybe not up to the job. Maybe we should think about getting another one. So I did do one test round of slurry before, so so it jumps up really high here on the edge. So that's the good news. There's a tiny bit that's been done already. And then obviously I can start going down. Oh, is that water puddles down there? They look a little bit funky from this distance, but I think as we get closer here, we might realize that things are going to get quite slippery and wet up here. Okay, let's see how we get on here. That'll be more or less the last thing we do today, in this episode at least. This time I might actually record another episode during the same day, because there are so many different jobs going on, or make a little bonus montage or something like that. That is, if we don't end up getting stuck here in this big puddle. Let's see how bad it's gonna be. I think we're managing. There's a bit of slippage, I think, but nothing too bad. We certainly didn't sink in spite of a fairly heavy load there, so I'm quite pleased with that. And so with the view of lots and lots of ground treatment still going on now here on the southern Eiersholt, that is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the new machinery and our farm starting to form, although we have a lot of catching up to do, it feels like. But thank you very much for watching from Overcoat Gaming, and see you again soon.